All right. One summer afternoon, my uncle invited me to his job. He knew that I had interest in what he worked with. So he invited me to walk down to his basement. And when I entered into the basement, I observed many things on the table. I observed a metal cold slab, a table, fluids, tubing, and makeup. And then, in an instant, I looked on the table and there was a dead corpse. And in that moment, he told me that he was going to show me how he embalmed the body, got it dressed, washed it up, all to prepare it for a funeral. And my desire for this speech is to explain to you all the way that, the things that it takes to prepare the body for a funeral. There's many details that go into preparing the body, and that's what I'm going to explain. This is a picture. Noah Webster states that a funeral home is an establishment that prepares a body for cremation or burial. When the funeral home receives the body, they first they go to the location where it is, either at the home site or at the hospital, and they pick it up and then they bring it back to the funeral home. And then when it's there, they talk with the family members. When they talk with the family members, they decide on their budget of the funeral, all the financial aspects that need to go into preparing the body. The preparation of the body. The preparation of the body, you can either be cremated, you can have nothing done and just be buried, or you can be embalmed. This is a picture of an individual getting embalmed, and he has the tubing right here, as you can see. And what they do with the tubing is that they drain all the blood out the body. After they drain all the blood out the body, they insert a chemical. When the chemical is inserted into the veins, what it does is harden the body to preserve it before it's buried. And with the preservation, it prevents the body from smelling for a certain amount of time so that it can have the funeral. The ceremonial. Oh, and this is cremation. When the body is cremated, they put the body into a cardboard box, and then they insert it into a kennel, and they leave the body in there for about 3 hours, and it's up to 7,000 degrees. And after the body is cremated, they take all the ashes out and put it into an urn. When the body goes into the urn, it's then given to the family, and they do what they please with it. They can either bury the urn, or they can divide the ashes among the family members to keep it as a keepsake. With the ceremonial, a lot goes into the ceremony as well. It all depends on the culture of the family, the background, and the age of the individual. The religion plays a huge role in the burial because, for example, if you're Muslim, you desire your body to be turned towards Mecca. If you're Jewish, you desire a simple burial where you have a wooden casket that can be put into the earth, and what they believe is simplicity. And with a wooden casket, instead of like a iron one or a copper one, with the wooden casket, it can dissolve back to the earth faster. And with a Christian burial, they believe in the pastor giving the eulogy. So all of these things go into the ceremonial part of the funeral. And you just have to keep in mind, with having a funeral home business, is that you are there to please the people. That's your main purpose. So whatever it is that the family needs, you have to accommodate them within their affordable ranges, of course. And also with the body preparation, that goes along with it. There's restorative art. With restorative art, what it does is it gets the body to I'll give an example instead. If, say, you were in a car accident, in this picture you can see this person has slight trauma to the right side of their face, and on the left side of their face there's trauma, and on the right side they have restored it. And what happens with the restorative art is that they give you makeup. Maybe if you were sick, they'll put a little more cushioning under your body to fill you out if you've lost a lot of weight through your sickness, to make you look as you were in everyday life. So the restorative art is really important, and not a lot of people can do it. It takes a special individual to be able to restore the body. And there's flowers that go into the funerals as well. And then you also have documentation that goes into the funeral. You have to get death certificates. You have to get permits to transfer the body from different locations. And you also have to get the right of disposal. All of these documents are required, and if you don't get them or dispose of the body the correct way, you could be harming our earth or lose your license. Also, there's the documentations of your obituary, which you can place into the newspaper, or the programs that go along with your eulogy. And obituary prices can range from $50 to $400. It all depends on the city that you live in and the amount that the newspaper charges. And then you have the actual burial. The actual burial is, it depends on what you want. You can have a graveyard, you can be in a military veterans graveyard, you can be buried next to your wife or your spouse, you can be buried according to your religion. It all depends on what the person wants and what the family wants. As you can see in this picture, this is a military burial, and this one was a cemetery that was dedicated to Jewish people. Also with burials, you have to keep in mind the weather. As like today, it's freezing outside, so they wouldn't be able to dig into the earth because it's too hard and they won't be able to get a good amount of dirt out. So according to the weather outside, different things, it will depend on what time you will get buried in the place. Let me end this speech with saying that a funeral home business is very tedious and takes many details. It takes a special individual to be able to deal with the dead. As a funeral home director, your aim is to supply the family with what they need physically and mentally. They may need counseling, or they may just need to be consoled. The main purpose is to please the family. So, at your next funeral that you go to, if you remember, observe the things around you. Observe what went into the actual funeral. Observe if the deceased person's makeup is correct. Observe if the right flowers are there, if their clothes fit right. Observe if the makeup is right. And just take note of the details that it takes to have a funeral home. Thank you for your time today. Feel free to applaud my efforts. And
Yay!